Welcome to D.I.Y. Automotive School with my friend Pete and Minnie, the body shop girl. It's everything you need to know about cars and more.
Treated this with 415. I went ahead and removed that loose, rusty, flaky stuff out of here. So this has been treated. It should go ahead and kill that rust and permanently be okay. But what you see right here, I went ahead and sprayed some blue paint. Now the reason I did that is because right here in this area, we won't be able to use our flange tool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark that. I'm going to put an arrow or a line. We'll just put a line right here with our magic marker. And then precisely, I will stick my fender extension onto the fender. And then I'm going to take my scribe tool. And I'm going to go ahead and scribe it right to this end. Now the reason I'm using a scribe tool, or a poker tool you might call this, is because I want it to be very, very precise. So when I cut that off, this will butt up right next to that perfect. So we take our scribe tool and we scratch it. And then we're also going to come over here because we won't be able to use our flange tool around this corner here. So we'll go ahead and scribe the back side of this as well. Because we want to be able to butt weld this section and this section together. And then if you look right there, you can see that I scribed a nice clean line and it follows the contour of the fender extension that I cut out. And also on this area here. So what I'll do now is I'll go ahead and take my cutting wheel and I will cut this section out. Once that's been cut out and now we got our puzzle piece that we want, I'll go ahead and take my grinder clean the metal up just like so. And then the next thing I'll do, I'm going to take my pneumatic what the fuck is this? Flange tool. There you go. I'm going to take my pneumatic flange tool and I'm going to go ahead and create a flange on the lips that we have left. Can you come over here and hold this, please? Thank you. now you can see that the flange that I created, so when we take our fender extension and we stick it back on here, it lines up very nice, and when I weld that, that'll be a nice flush mount fit, so when I grind it down, it'll be minimal body work. We also went in there to fucking loser guy who can hold the fender. That's what you're here for, to hold. Okay? Well, you weren't holding it.
I was holding.
You were standing there with one hand in your pocket and the other hand over here.
No. I don't put my hands in my pocket when gloves are on.
Thank you for fucking that up.
What you're talking about?
Back to the video. Fucker. Now we can get back to the fucking video. Where we left off before we were rudely interfucking-rupted here is that I cut this right here. Now, I got it pretty precise here. We got a little off right here, but that's okay. But you can see how this section will be butt welded. We got this section that has a flange, and then we come over here, and that section will be butt welded as well. Just like that. The next thing that we want to do is start spot welding this in place. So we're going to line it up where it goes. You can see now, one thing that we got to make sure of, we got to make sure that this line right here is lined up perfect. The reason for that is because this is where our body line is that shows the gap between the door and the fender. So we want to make sure that that is in place and taken care of. Alright, we got the front of it tack welded on with several tacks. What we want to do now is flip it over, and we want to go ahead and weld everything on the bottom side before we finish the top of it. Now before we go any further with this, what we want to do is we have got to drill 2 or 3 holes in this area right here, because that has to be spot welded back in place. Now if you can hold the fender, I'm going to go ahead and
push it toward me?
Just hold it. That's all you gotta do, just hold it. That's it. Got to make sure that all fits. I'm gonna hold this in place where I want it, and what you're gonna do is clamp it down with these fucking vice grips. Okay? Are you ready? Right here, bud. Come on. Let me see it.
I knew that wouldn't last long.
Alright, you ready? Go. Tight, tight. That's not tight enough. Thank you. This fender thing's a piece of shit. This is aftermarket. It doesn't line up right. It's not supposed to line up right, because they literally make them cheap and inexpensive so people like you and me can bitch.
Yeah, bitch and learn section.
And what I'm trying to explain here is I don't give a fuck what they say to you when you buy that aftermarket piece. It will not be perfect. And just to let you know, here's a good example. You see how tight that fits right there, Weekly?
Yeah.
Looky here.
Yeah.
All right, we are going to have to modify this up. More than likely, we're going to have to do body work on this. We're going to have to do body work. So it would have been better just to keep this piece of shit, cut this out, put a new piece in there instead of replacing this fucking whole thing. That's taken me 2 fucking days to do, because I'm making a DIY video how to do it. And people really don't realize how long and technical it is to actually do a video like this so they can learn how to do it.
Did a real fine job molding this rib here. I mean it.
Thank you! look at this area right here, you can see from an outside visual look, once we grind that down, that'll look factory original. You see what I'm saying? Here's a problem we have right here though, Weekly. Here's a problem we have right here. And the problem we have is if you look at this lip here, how this folds around, look how this lip basically just stops. Basically almost flush. I mean, we're going to be able to barely roll that around to even match up 1/3. We're going to have to take our hammer and dolly and kind of roll this lip around and kind of make it go to nothing. So we'll have a roll here, and then it'll eventually fade out to where it looks like this, which, where's the other one at? Do you see what I'm saying here?
Yeah.
But it ain't got a fucking lip like that.
Crimping is going to have to go on there.
But it doesn't have a lip like that.
Oh, it doesn't.
All right? By the time we roll this around, it's going to look something like the very, very edge of this right here. All right? Here's another problem we have is that this doesn't meet up. This ain't the same contour. The fender that we're looking at isn't the same contour as what we're supposed to have. And then again, we still have to roll this over. We have to roll our lip over. So why don't we go ahead and do that, and we'll see where we're at with that angle. If you can hold that fender, I'd appreciate it. Now, on this lip right here that we're looking at, that has to be rolled over. We're going to have to roll that over just like the factory original fender. So what I'm going to do is I am going to try to do this the best way possible because, once again, this fender really doesn't fit the contour of what we're actually going for here. So I got a pair of vice grips, and I'm going to vice grip that to that, and then I'll take my hammer, and I'm just going to start rolling it just like you're watching me do here. It's not looking too good. Not looking too fucking good, guys. How the fuck was this lip? Did this lip go all the way over to here is where it went? See how that was cut out? Look. So we got to cut this corner out. We got to cut that corner out of there to match. And now you know why I'm showing you this, because this is a technical fucking bullshit job that would be very, very hard for you to figure out. There's a lot of shit going on here just to do all this technical work with this aftermarket piece of shit. Go in the top of my toolbox and get my fiberglass base, guy.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. The aftermarket pieces suck. It's a sucky situation, and fiberglass face will tell you that, because fiberglass face is right. When it comes to aftermarket pieces suck. So listen to my friend Pete. Do what my friend Pete tells you to do, and you will be able to conquer the world with aftermarket pieces. Fiberglass face says so. That's what fiberglass face has to say.
Now what we got to do is cut this corner out to mimic this corner here, which ain't going to look the same, but this one here kind of cuts off right here. This is longer. It's a fucked up fucking deal, dude. Alright, well, once we get that started, just like you see, what I'll do is I will take my hammer dolly, I'm going to lay it on the bottom right here, and then I'll take my hammer to work my roll the way that I want it. So what we're trying to do here is, if you can see this fender, this is the original one. Of course, we have to do all this work over on this one. We're trying to mimic this corner right in this area right here. Let's see if we can go ahead and keep going with it and hopefully get it right. Thank you for doing that, Tony. Thank you for bringing that to us. We appreciate it. Now that we have our edge done, this will be our, this is where our door meets up with our edge. Now that we have that rolled over and we mimicked our way through this, the next thing I want to do is I want to mimic my way through rolling this lip around to basically try to copy this lip right here, which is going to be impossible because there's not enough meat here, but we're going to go ahead and see what we can do. I'm going to go ahead and use my dolly once again, using my dolly to roll the edge the way that I want it. So I'll use this edge of my dolly right here to reach under the back of it and then roll it around. And then to finish off that area where this lip is bigger than this lip, I'm going to go ahead and grind that down to make a nice flush mount surface. And now we're ready to go ahead and weld this up on the back side. So now as we look at the back of our fender that we basically reconstructed from scratch, you can see that everything is done, everything is set in place and ready to flip over and finish it out. Now that that's welded together, what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this fender over. And the reason I'm going to do that is because we just got done welding and the fender has warped on us. So I'm going to take my dolly and my hammer, and this is basically called hammer welding, because what you want to do is you want to hammer it with a hammer and dolly before it cools down. So if you look right there, it's a done deal, it's a done situation. All I got to do now is grind that weld down, grind the spot welds down on the bottom, do a little bit of minor body work where we were hammering and dolling on this edge right here, and possibly a little bit in this area. And our fender has now been restored to factory original. It's a done deal. This fender will last many, many years. We got some body work over here to do. But this was the situation. This is the situation we got. And it's not fucking good. This is what we started with. This is the pile of shit that we took off, and that's what we finished with. And just here's a little example of what I was talking about by buying that section. If you look right here, you can see where all the rust is that goes all the way up to here. This piece is going to be very, very tricky. You can already see where I kind of marked it out, where I'm going to cut it off just like this here. And then we're going to section that piece in there just like a puzzle, because we don't want to cut it off way up here and replace that whole lower section. So what we're going to do is I'm going to cut this off like this, just like a Z, and then I'll put it back in there when I'm done. So I hope that this has helped you out. It was a very, very frustrating situation we had going on, but that is how it is when you're doing it yourself. You're going to run into problems. You're going to run into factuations of situations that will find the solution as you keep going. Don't give up, don't be a quitter, and keep plugging at it, and the solutions will be there waiting for you to use. This is Pete, my friend Pete, your friend Pete. This little video set right here took 2.5 days to film. That was actually approximately a 4.5 hour job. So I hope that you appreciate everything that I'm doing for you to learn the technology and the skills, not just of putting a fender together, but the temperament and the angle of getting frustrated and pissed off, but at least finishing the job. We'll see you later. Take it easy. It's lunchtime. Weekly Loser's over there waiting for me, sitting down, smoking a cigarette. I've got to go.
Thanks for watching D.I.Y. Automotive School. Classes don't stop till you know everything.